we're back in the Lake District for another weekend of fell bagging. Got a green book. We missed about 4 fells on the previous 2-3 weekends. We're having to go all the way back up Helvellyn again and get them. Making the most of it. We're going to do Striding Edge again.
Going down to a edge or?
No. But hopefully we'll check out Priest Cave on the way back down. Yeah. And then after that, we've got about a 25-kilometre loop getting the 4 fells we missed on the previous ones. And then we've got the remaining 3 that are on the north of the eastern ones, which we're going to hope to do a bit of a trail run. So we'll see how that goes.
As the floor is wet, we have got our kitchen services here. As it's late, I don't think we'll have any more people coming over. We arrived in the lakes late Friday night and started our hike from Patterdale towards Striding Edge, hoping to find a suitable spot to pitch along the way.
Smells lovely.
It wasn't the perfect spot, but we made it work before climbing too high. For tonight's meal, we cooked up some fajitas.
Enjoy.
How about you two? Good? Went to sleep last night around 1:45. It's a very late one, didn't even realise the time. Completely forgot to sign off and woke up and it's been raining. Wasn't on the forecast, but gonna head up there where all them people are, do Striding Edge, and we've got a circle around up on these mountain tops, come back down later on. Got Fairfield, Nethermost, Pike, can't remember the other ones.
This is our 4th weekend of fell bagging. Any free weekend we've had this summer, we've made the long drive up to the Lakelands to try and tick off as many as we can. We're going in the order of the Wainwright books, and the little green book I was holding at the start, that's book 1. Alfred Wainwright split the 214 fells into 7 books, each organised by the region they cover. Right now, we're working our way through the 35 peaks he refers to as the Eastern Fells. Tagging along with us on this trip is my cousin Antonio. Growing up, our families used to spend a lot of time together, but as we've gotten older, we barely get the time to see each other.
We've just got to Striding Edge and we're gonna tackle that, do the incline and head on to Nethermost Pike.
The first time we did Striding Edge, about a year ago, we didn't have any bags on and we still struggled. It was mostly in our heads, but it took us a long time to get across maintaining 3 points of contact majority of the way. I think a big part of that was just not having much experience walking on this kind of terrain, high up with dramatic drops on either side. It's a lot to process when you're new to it. And to be fair, we haven't done anything quite that dramatic since, but we have spent a lot of time climbing mountains, and I can only assume that's what's helped build our confidence. Because this time, we made it across Striding Edge much quicker, even with the extra weight of our bags.
Nethermost, oh, you knocked it over, you goddamn vandal.
We made it to the top of Helvellyn, where we planned to have breakfast at the shelter, but it was just too windy. So we moved on to the trig point before finding the correct cairn for Nethermost Pike. We'd actually mistaken a random cairn for the peak on the previous trip. After that, we descended Helvellyn via Dolly Wagon Pike. We finally stopped around midday for breakfast at Grisdale Tarn. Breakfast for us consisted of 3 fried eggs and some pita bread, mainly chosen for its flatness, shared between the 2 of us. Meanwhile, Antonio made himself some porridge.
We end up admiring the views for well over an hour and a half. It's only meant to be a quick stop, but with the steep incline of Fairfield looming over us, I think we're all subconsciously taking our time. Late last year, Katrina and I signed up to run the Barcelona Marathon. Unfortunately, I had to tap out due to an injury, which left Katrina to complete it on her own, and she did, and I'm really proud of her for that. We went to Catalonia with friends, another couple, and the guy also ran the marathon. Out of the 27,000 people taking part, the only other person we knew, aside from our friend, was Antonio, Katrina's cousin. So of course we took the opportunity to meet up and catch up internationally.
We've just had some brunch at Glenryan Tarn. We're heading up Fairfield now, and we're going to get Fairfield and Hartcrag. Got about 14 kilometres left, and then we're heading to our wild camp spot for the night.
Antonio mentioned how much he loves seeing the videos and photos of our camping trips and asked if we take him along one day. A lot of people have said this to us before, but when it comes down to it, very few actually mean it. They may like the idea of going camping, but not the reality of having to walk with a heavy bag which needs to hold everything you'll need for the next 48 hours. It quickly puts people off. It was clear Antonio wasn't just being polite when he said this. He genuinely meant it.
We had these routes planned for a few weeks and made sure to share them with my cousin, just so he knew what he was getting himself into. Everyone has their own definition of camping. For some, it's turning up to a campsite in the car and carrying their gear no more than 3 steps. For others, it might be a short hike, followed by setting up camp early, soaking in the views and enjoying the company. And there is nothing wrong with any of those styles. We've done plenty of the relaxed kind ourselves, but personally, we prefer to hike a lot, cover some distance, and set up camp later in the evening. We shared the full 25-kilometre hike with him, along with the elevation profile, and the 17-kilometre trail run we planned to do to bag Great Male Fell, Little Male Fell, and Go Barrow Fell the following day. We wanted to make sure he was fully aware of what he was signing up for. And honestly, if he came back and said, no, sorry, that's a bit too much, we'd have been happy to work out a more relaxed itinerary so we could still enjoy the lakes together. Fortunately, he agreed without any hesitation.
We've seen a lot of videos on YouTube of people sleeping in caves, especially this specific one in the Lake District known as Priest's Hole. Over the years, we've met people in Boffies who've shared vague directions and stories about their nights spent in the cave. We never knew its exact location, and to be honest, we never really tried to research it either. We've always been curious, but right now we're more focused on ticking off the Wainwrights. On our second weekend of fell bagging, we stopped partway up Fairfield to have breakfast overlooking Ullswater. The first humans we saw that morning were an elderly couple who told us they'd actually completed all of the Wainwrights, and their goal for the day was to find the Priest's Hole. They explained it was right near Dove Crag. That particular day, Katrina and I had a lot of ground to cover, so we skipped checking out Priest's Hole. But this trip, we were only here for a few fells, and they're relatively close together.
One of them is Hart Crag, which happens to sit right next to Dove Crag, so we decided to take the detour. It was also a unique spot to show Antonio. Technically, we didn't even need to go up Helvellyn for this trip, but with Malik and I still needing to tick off Nethermost Pike, which is just a stone's throw away from the summit, we figured, what kind of Lake District tour guides would we be if we didn't take our guests up the most famous and dramatic ridge in the lakes, Striding Edge? Just took a detour and went up to Priest's Hole for a little bit. Really lovely views and such a good little spot to camp in as well. We're not camping there tonight, but we're definitely going to in the future. The detour was 100% worth it. Back to the car now. I believe we've done all the fells and detours. So back to the car to then find our wild camp spot for the night, which we believe we're going to head to Ullswater's little secret beach, which we've been to before. One night we've had a really peaceful night, one night we didn't, so hopefully it'll be a good one tonight. We'll see. So now, in just one trip, Antonio has slept halfway up a mountain, traversed Striding Edge, submitted Helvellyn, and now chilled out in a cave with views stretching right out to the horizon. It was actually forecasted to have very poor visibility, but it actually turned out to be surprisingly clear.
After spending some time in the cave, we retrace our steps back to the plateau and rejoin the Fairfield Horseshoe. Eventually we take a sharp left towards Red Squeeze with the goal of bagging high Hartsop Dodd, the final peak of the hike. And with that final fell in the bag, we begin the descent back to the car. All 3 of us with dry mouths, craving water and some proper cooked food.
So we just got to Great Hart Crag, and I have no idea how we missed out the previous time. I don't know if it was just because it wasn't on the map, like I didn't waymark it, or if we're just too tired the previous time, because that was the time we woke up at 2 AM and was walking in the dark. But right now we've got about 7 kilometers left to the car.
We've just got to Ullswater. We're about to have some dinner. Such a nice evening in front of Ullswater Lake. Just checked the weather and we've got rain forecasted for the whole day tomorrow. So our 16-kilometre run's gonna be fun. But I'm looking forward to it, and then we can have a dip in the lake because we're gonna be bloody wet anyway. Yeah. So it makes sense too. But yeah, we got some elk steak for dinner and we're gonna get it cooking now. We bailed on the secret lake, the secret Ullswater beach, because we didn't want to do another 3.2 kilometres of walking because we're pretty knackered. Wanted a chill one. So here we are. Not only were we all completely drained, but we were also craving a peaceful night and a good rest before the next day. The last time we visited the secret beach, there was a large group of lads who stayed up until the early hours, laughing, shouting, talking, and blasting music from their speakers. We barely got any sleep, and fearing a repeat of that experience, especially with it being a Saturday night, we decided to give it a miss. Instead, we pitched up by the lake on the side, closest to the road, and surprisingly, we had that little bay all to ourselves, once the fisherman packed up for the night.
It's Sunday morning, it's currently 10 past 10. We checked the Strava stats. We've done 12 fells yesterday. We only needed 3. I thought we needed 4, but we only needed 3. And that was Little Heart Crag, and Nethermost Pike, which we missed on previous occasions. Just cooking up, well, just cooked. About to tuck into some eggs and beans with some pita bread. And we told Antonio we was going to take him to a waterfall, and I was thinking specifically Area Force. And it just so happens that the next 3 peaks or fells that we're looking to do, which I can't remember off the top of my head which they are called, Barrow Sow, Great Melfell and Little Melfell actually, so it turns out I do remember. But yeah, literally right next to there is Area Force. It adds only about 2 kilometers onto the run, but we also run down the river and apparently see 2 other waterfalls, so it'd be rude not to check that out. So that's the plan for today.
We've got a 500-metre climb up Great Melfell for our run this morning. It's going to be about an 18-kilometre run. We've got 3 waterfalls to go to. Just doing some stretching now.
3 peaks in total.
The first fell of the run is Great Melfell, and it's pure incline from the car all the way up to the summit. I'd love to say we ran the whole thing, but that would be very far from the truth. After watching a Stephen J. Reed video where he explains that the best way to run up a mountain is in 30-second intervals, that becomes our plan. The reality, for me anyway, is a grand total of about 3.5 minutes of running. The rest, I walk. Katrina and I have both been running for just over a year now, and we definitely prefer trail runs over the monotony of road running. I'm not entirely sure what Antonio thought when we shared the plan for this run, especially since the goal is to bag 3 fells. We've essentially all agreed to run up mountains. He might assume we're experienced mountain runners, but that couldn't be far from the truth. Myself and Katrina have never done anything like this before. The most elevation gain we've tackled on a run is maybe 300-400 meters. And this one's looking like more than 700.
We push uphill and our body's still aching from the day before, but before we know it, we're standing at the cairn, taking in the views from the top.
So fun, isn't it? Right, where to next?
This direction. See where that family is.
Cool.
Sweet, let's go. We tried doing walking, running intervals on the way up, but that soon turned into just walking majority of the way. We made it to the top, but we did run all the way down, which was very, very fun. And we ran past the car, so we changed tops. It was really hot, filled up water bowls, and push on to the next 2 fells. And hopefully going to be running down the river, checking out all these waterfalls, which probably one of the most scenic runs we've done. Let's see.
Since this is our first time attempting to run up a mountain, it also means it's our first time running down one. And honestly, I don't think I can fully put it into words, the euphoric feeling of flying downhill. The breeze slapping your face, eyes watering, body barely keeping up with the legs it's attached to, as you just send it down the slope at full speed. It's a similar kind of rush to bombing downhill on a bike. But on foot, your senses are dialed all the way up. You're constantly scanning the ground for solid footing, ready to drive your feet into the next secure spot as gravity pulls you down.
Just got to High Cascades, now running down Area Beck until Area Force.
Honestly, we're expecting a total of 3 waterfalls, but Area Force is the only one that really delivers. Funnily enough, it was actually one of the first stops that Malik and I ever made on our first trip to the lakes nearly 8 years ago. Definitely worth the detour, especially since Antonio mentioned he wanted to see a waterfall. And this one is pretty much right along our route. This is also Antonio's first time running up mountains. In fact, it's his first ever trail run. He said it felt way more engaging than road running, with all the scenery helping to distract you from the effort. Compared to London where he usually runs, he can really feel the difference in air quality. He says it's much easier to regain your breath.
I lost my shoes. Why don't you grab me, boy?
No, you gotta get it.
Yeah,
You gotta get it.
Right, might be a smart idea to actually avoid the mud then in future.
We were forecasted rain all day, and we were fully prepared to do this run soaked to the bone. But aside from a light sprinkle at the start, we stayed completely dry the entire time, which feels like a miracle for the lakes. All in all, we cover 17.5 kilometers with over 1,000 meters of elevation. Not bad for a little trail run.
We've had a really pleasant time with Antonio, catching up and getting to know each other on a deeper level, all while surrounded by nature. We think we gave him a solid introduction to the Lake District, even if we were confined to just the Eastern Fells. And of course, no trip to the lakes would be complete without a batch of freshly made gingerbread.
That is book 1 done. So the next time we're in the Lake District, we're going to be on book 2.
I believe a total of 35 fells across 4 weekends. Start final trail run. Now I'm going to cool down. Hopefully, no one's wanting.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Before getting to gingerbread. Can't go back.
Let's go, man.
Thank you.